Hi and welcome to Northants Wargamers on the Road. My name's Barry and today we're at Fanboy 3 in Manchester for a top 8 matchup in the UK City Championship for Age of Sigmar Champions. It's between King of Swiss Mike Kerslake on the left playing Bloodthirster and John Paul Golightly on the right playing Mordant Burn. Mike is no stranger of being King of Swiss but has never progressed through the cut when he's done so. Can he break his curse and make it through to the semi-finals? But one thing we do know, 22 players competed in this event. The breakdown for it was 7 Chaos, 6 Death, 5 Destruction and 4 Order. Okay, so for Mike we have Herald of Nurgle, we have Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury, a Bloodreaver Chieftain and a second Herald of Nurgle. And for John Paul we have Monstrous Haunter Courtier ×2 and 2 Crypt Haunter Courtiers. So we've seen this setup before with Dominic Elston in previous videos. It's proving to be a very popular build. So it's whether or not John Paul can get on the Royal Hunt out and then start laying lots of damage against the Bloodthirster lane. So we have a Vigor Necrus coming in, or maybe not, change his mind. We have a Curse Strike going in, so 3 damage to Mike. He's decided to use pen and paper to make my job easier, so cheers for that, Mike. And then draws, so it's over to Mike. So Mike goes in with the Fearless Korgorath, 2 damage, first quest done on that Bloodreaver Chieftain. So stopping the questing on the Monstrous Haunter Courtier in lane 2 for John Paul. So we got Fuel the Gravetide, takes out that Fearless Korgorath. So stopping the Bloodreaver Chieftain from questing quick. And John Paul's got to put 3 different units into the discard pile. So he's got a Freakish Crypt Horror, a Thorns of the Briar Queen, and then a Fearsome Crypt Flayer goes in. Okay. So John Paul's just got to shuffle his deck and then off for the cut. So Mike Kerslake with co-host George and Steve have a brand new podcast called Mystic Shield. As you can guess from the name, it's dedicated to Age of Sigmar Champions. You can find them on Podbean and Facebook, and I'll leave the links in the show notes below. Okay, so follows up with the Freakish Crypt Horror. So that's going to quick quest that Crypt Haunter Courtier next turn. Will Mike remove it? Will he do the heroic act on that Bloodreaver Chieftain? Okay, so we've got Demonic Fury. So 5 damage to JP and 2 damage to himself. So Mike is now on 30. Follows up with a Gorslick Skull Reaper doing 1 rend damage. So JP is going to deal 1 damage to Mike and then heal 1 himself. Second quest done on that Crypt Haunter Courtier in lane 3. Okay, JP's passing, drawing 2. Mike's go. So Gorslick Skull Reaper's having a bit of a rest. He does nothing this turn. We have Nurgle's Rock going in for 5 damage. So Last Stand's not going to trigger. Oh, 6 damage because of the Bloodthirster. So we get Expansive Gur. So that's gonna dormant all of JP's champions for the next 3 turns. So Mike's realised he's got a problem. The Expansive Gur should be in his side deck. It should not be in his main deck. So he's conceding. So lots of honesty there for Mike. So, but you need to check your deck before going into the game. So second game we have Herald of Nurgle. We have Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury, Bloodreaver Chieftain, and a Herald of Nurgle. And for JP, we have a Monstrous Haunter Courtier, we have a Lord Executioner, we have another Monstrous Haunter Courtier, and we have a Crypt Haunter Courtier. So Mike has gone with the same setup, and John Paul has changed his by putting the Lord Executioner in, so he will then benefit from reducing ability damage. Okay, so looks like Mike's passed, JP's go. And we have Frightful Strike going in for 3 damage. So that Monstrous Haunter Courtier is more in points than the Herald of Nurgle. So Mike is, because he's disengaged, he has to discard a card, put it back into his deck. There we go. Always offer your deck for your opponent to cut. So JP's still got a second action. And he goes in with the Fearsome Crypt Flayer. So 2 quests on that Monstrous Haunter Courtier down on lane 1. Mike's go. So we've got a Furious Strike going in for 5 damage. First quest done on that Herald of Nurgle, lane 1. So will he follow up with the unit? So Mike doesn't really want to use quests for these lanes 2, 3 and 4. Or doesn't want to use abilities, I should say. Golightly Skull Reaper going in. 1 rend damage. So 2 damage from that Fearsome Crypt Flayer down at the bottom. Anything that goes into lane 4 for Mike now for that Herald of Nurgle will be dormant. So JP draws 2 cards. Golightly Skull Reaper spins. Have we got the same combo again that Mike was using? No, we haven't. We've got a Blood Fury Wrathmonger going in. 2 damage. 1 damage to himself. And then he draws. So JP's go. So the Fearsome Crypt Flayer does 2 damage. Puts Mike down onto 27. And then he's going to follow up with the Curse Strike. First quest done on Lord Executioner. 3 damage to Mike. Down to 24. And then he goes in with Fuel the Gravetide. Takes out that Blood Fury Wrathmonger. Has to put 3 cards into the discard pile. 3 different ones. So we've got Freakish Crypt Horror. We've got Thorns of the Briar Queen. And something. Once he finds it. Is it going to be the same as last time with those Fearsome Crypt Flayers? No. It's a Tireless Flayer. So the last stand will trigger for the Blood Fury Wrathmonger, but there's no target. Okay, so the Golightly Skull Reapers did 3 damage. 4 damage, sorry, because of the Bloodthirster, sorry. Reckless Abandon, so it's going to do 4 damage. Mike's going to decide if Gazer Nurgle is going to do 6 damage or heal for 6. He's going to do 6, so he's he's down to 10 after Reckless Assault and the last stand damage goes off. So a massive hit there. Right, so Mike's going to follow up with the Fearless Korgorath doing 2 damage. Well, it's not going to do 2 damage, so it should have gone in dormant because those Fearsome Crypt Flayers are there. So a little bit of a boo-boo. JP should have known that, and so should have Mike. Because Mike plays Death as well. So we have Feaster of Souls going in, 2 health gained, and the unit goes back to his hand. We've got another Fearsome Crypt Flayer coming out, complete the quest, so we've got the Royal Hunt. So now Mike's in real trouble. If JP's got some abilities like Curse Strike, then he's going to get extra damage through the lane if it's onto the Bloodthirster. So he gets +3 damage through abilities and unit damage through lane 3. So Blood Reaver Chieftain is going to ping for 1, second quest done. Fearsome Crypt Flyer then does 2 damage in return. So Mike is down to 22. JP's going to draw. So Mike's go. So we have another Fearless Gorgrath going in. 2 damage. Third quest done on that Blood Reaver Chieftain. So Mike's only got an ability to go. And he gets that blessing. So he's having a little bit of a think about it. If he gets JP down to 5, then the abilities that he's got down on his champions are going to start coming into effect. So it's whether or not he can finish him off all in one go. So we've got a Fanatical Skull Fiend going into play. 1 damage to himself. So he's down to 21. So JP's go. 2 damage to Mike. So now he's down to 19. And then follows up with the Curse Strike for 3. And gets rid of his last card in his hand. So he was more concerned about ditching Mike's card than he was of doing the extra damage with the Royal Hunt through onto the Bloodthirster. So we got another Feaster of Souls coming out, so puts that Fanatical Skull Fiend back in his hand, gains 2 health. Mike's go, 1 damage to JP. So, John Paul Golightly runs the Bearded Card Trader, which is a great resource for all of your single cards that you need to complete your master sets. And I'll leave this in the link below too. So, Mike drew 2 cards. JP's having a little bit of a think about things. So he's got a good setup because he's got the Royal Hunt. Looks like he's only got 1 card though, so he's going to draw 2. Over to Mike. Mike's cards all leave play. What has he got? So goes in with an Opportunity Strike. So should be 5, but the Lord Executioner will reduce that to 3 damage, but it seems to have only taken 2. We get Expansive Gur out. Fanatical Skull Fiend goes into play, 1 damage to himself. Should do at least 1 damage to Mike with his Monstrous Haunter Courtier, and then heal for 1 through his Crypt Haunters. I'm not sure if that's happened. He's having to think about what to do. He's running out of options when his health is so low. Looks like Mike's on 15. So we have Curse Strike going through for 6 because it's through on the Bloodthirster lane. Draws a card. So Mike deals 3 damage. JP is down to 2. And then Blood Fury Wrathmonger goes in. 2 damage. That's it. So 1 game apiece going into the 3rd. So it hangs in the balance. JP's just deciding what he's going to go with. So we have Mike has Herald of Nurgle, Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury, Blood Reaver Chieftain, and the 2nd Herald of Nurgle. And JP's gone with the same setup of Monstrous Haunter Courtier, Lord Executioner, Monstrous Haunter Courtier, and a Crypt Haunter Courtier. Okay, so Mike opens up with a Furious Strike, 5 damage. Are we going to go see a Golightly Skull Reaper? Because it's exactly the same opening that he did last time. No, he draws for 1. JP's go. No, JP opens up with a Feasting Vargeist, gains 1 health. Up to 31. He's going to quick quest that Crypthorn Courtier next turn. Mike's go. So we have a Golightly Skull Reaper going into play for 1 rend damage, followed by a Furious Strike going in for 5. Should really be 4, because it's 1 plus every unengaged champion. So another health back from Feasting Vargeist. Does that second quest on the Crypthorn Courtier. And follows up with the Feaster of Souls, puts that Golightly Skull Reaper back in his hand, gains 2 health. And then we have Thorns of the Briar Queen going in, 2 damage to Mike. And then he's going to stop the questing ability of the Herald of Nurgle, the Bloodthirster and that Blood Reaver Chieftain. So Mike's going to have to concentrate on this Herald of Nurgle down here at the bottom if he wants to start questing. So he's having a little bit of a think about it. JP's definitely put a spanner in Mike's plans. So Mike definitely wants to spin these champions that are either side of the Bloodthirster, because the Bloodthirster grants him extra damage on their final corner. So it's whether or not he's got a Blood Hunt in his hand to get rid of this Thorns of the Briar Queen. But JP can easily get it out again if he's got a Vigor Necris in his hand. So he replays the Golightly Skull Reaper, does 1 rend damage, then draws a card. So it's JP's go. So he's 3 damage from Thorns of the Briar Queen, draws 2 cards with that Feasting Vargeist. So it looks like he's got a Vigor Necris in his hand, so he can bring back that Thorns of the Briar Queen, so he can keep Mike's questing under control. And we have a Curse Strike going in, 3 damage to Mike. First quest done on that Monstrous Haunter Courtier down on lane 1. So JP's definitely questing well. He's got control of the game. So Tyler's Crypt Flare going in. Nothing this turn. Second quest done on that Monstrous Haunter Courtier. Next turn he's going to quick quest it though. Nothing from that Golightly Skull Reaper. Sorry. And then we have a Demonic Fury. So 5 damage to JP. 2 damage to himself. JP's down to 23. Mike, I think, looks like he's on 24. So Mike hasn't got many cards in his hand. He's running out of options. Looks like he's going to draw. There we go. JP's go. So Tyler's Crypt Flare goes in. 2 damage. Everything else rotates out. Third quest done on that Monstrous Haunter Courtier. So in 2 turns time, we're probably going to see what that quest is under that champion. But that means that Mike is clear to do that extra, to do the damage needed on that Herald of Nurgle on his lane 1. So we've got a Feaster of Souls going in. So JP's going to get 2 health back. And then 1 health back from the Feasting Vargeist. So I think that's the 3rd Feaster of Souls we've seen now. So we've got a Fearless Korgorath going into play for 2 damage. Let's see what quest he's got. He's got Expansive Gur. So JP's champions are now dormant. So now it's Mike's turn to slow everything down. But can he capitalise? He's got 3 cards in his hand. So we have a Golightly Skull Reaper going into play, 1 rend damage. JP spins, 3 damage from the Crypt Flayers and 1 health back with the Feasting Vargeist. Draws 2 cards. Mike's go, 2 damage from that Fearless Crawgrass because of the Bloodthirster. Nothing from the Golightly Skull Reaper. We've got Nurgle's Rock spinning round, so normally be 5 damage, but Bloodthirster pumps it up to 6. We've got a further 2 last stand damage as well. Or 3 last stand damage because the Bloodthirster will increase that. So a huge amount of damage coming his way. Khorne is very happy. So it looks like we've got 14 versus 13. So nothing from those tireless Crypt Flayers. They are tied. 2 cards from the Feasting Vargeist. What options has JP got? So he can't spin any of his champions. None of his abilities work. So Mike really needs to get a wriggle on. He's got next turn to get JP down below 5. Okay, so we've got a Frightful Strike going in. 3 damage. Mike's going to have to ditch a card, which he does. Didn't take him long to decide what he wanted. Okey-dokey, so pass. Mike's go. Last round for Expansive Girt. Mike's run out of options, so he's just drawing 2. Feasting Vargeist leaves play. So we're going to see what's under this Monstrous Haunter Courtier. No. So Freakish Crypt Horror goes in. So that'll give him some health back next turn. And draws a card. Mike's go. So Mike's having to think about it. And we've got a Blood Fury Wrathmonger going in. 2 damage. 1 damage to himself. So it looks like 15 to 11. And then a Demonic Fury going in. Let's see what this quest is. So it is Outrageous Carnage. So 4 damage. Gets rid of everything there. Then we've got 5 damage from Demonic Fury. And then Mike takes 2 himself. So he is down to 14. 13. There we go, just correcting himself. And JP is on 4. So is JP going to remember all of his character's abilities? No, doesn't look like it. So, Fearsome Crypt Flayer. We have a blessing. It is the Royal Hunt. So, Mike is in trouble. Just needs some abilities to go down this Bloodthirster lane. And that'll finish him off. Looks like he's got 2 Vigor Necris, so that'll be quite good. Thorns of the Briar Queen could come out. That's going to be 11 damage. Which is not enough to finish him off. But if JP will remember these Monstrous Haunter Courtiers, that would have been game. Because it had done 2 damage with the Monstrous Haunter Courtiers. Healed 1 back. Lay Vigor Necris and get him with the Thorns of the Briar Queen. So he's thinking about a Vigor, that's for sure. He's gone through his discard pile. What suitable target has he got? He's got a Fuel the Gravetide in his hand. Looks like he's playing it. So there we go, Fuel the Gravetide. 3 units go in the discard pile, all different. So, Freakish Crypt Horror, Tireless Crypt Flayer, and a Fearsome Crypt Flayer. Blood Fury Wrathmonger leaves play. Last stand will trigger. No unit to take off the board though in return. So JP offers his deck across. Has Mike got in his hand what he needs to finish JP off? We have Fearless Crawgrass going in for 2 damage. 2 health left for JP. Mike draws. So Monstrous Haunter Courtier triggers 2 damage to Mike. 2 damage with the Fearsome Crypt Flayers. So he's just going through. Yeah. Play Vigor Necris, Thorns of the Briar Queen, 11 damage. Thank you very much. JP goes through. He wins his top 8 match. Mike again, King of Swiss, crashes out. We shall see you soon for another top 8 match. So, like, subscribe, comment below, and we will see you soon. Goodbye.